We are coming to you live here in Johannesburg. This is where a new advocacy organization called Vuka Azania has been launched, focusing on pressing issues such as land, job creation, education, as well as improving the lives of Black South Africans. The Vuka Azania movement or organization was launched by its founding members. This includes Dr. Muzi Sikhakhane SC, former spy boss Arthur Fraser, as well as Reverend Dr. Allan Boesak and Dr. Shai. The organization says that it is not a political party, but rather a platform for advocacy and mobilization. So it says that it wants to push for land reform, economic opportunities, and better education, as well as greater equality. So,
recognizing that as a result, Black people need healing from the psychic wounds of coloniality, epistemic dependency, and lack of confidence. Self-determination cannot take place when a people lack confidence in their own humanity and ability. Recognizing that the majority of African people remain on the margins of the human condition and mainstream economic activity, and that Black people in general, and particularly Black women, remain the most visible face of poverty in our country, our continent, and in the world. Recognizing that the Black condition in this country is rooted in land dispossession, economic exclusion, cultural alienation, inferior education, legal marginalization, unemployment, poverty, and the continuing domination of African life by colonial patterns of power. This dispossession includes the political, social, and economic marginalization of the indigenous people who are the Black majority in this country. Recognizing the limits of a new liberal constitutionalism in the fight against the material and psychic vestiges of colonialism and apartheid, and towards the attainment of genuine national liberation for our people. Recognizing that secular colonialism has led to spiritual degradation of the African people, leading to a plethora of social maladies, despondency, hopelessness, and perpetual trauma, manifesting itself in so many and varied ways. Recognizing that knowledge production remains Eurocentric and colonial in character, and that African knowledge systems and languages remain marginalized and are not languages of the economy of power and knowledge production. And recognizing that settler colonialism, racism, and racial capitalism continue to inflict on Black people not merely an injustice to be corrected in the future, but a form of ongoing violence that demands an immediate and drastic response. Conscious and therefore declaring that the complete rethinking of this country requires not the endless proliferation of political parties, but a disciplined anti-colonial and decolonial advocacy, think tank, and Black civil society formation, capable of generating ideas, epistemic authority, shaping policy, building consciousness, raising issues of the Black majority, advancing lawful mobilization, and developing programs for the total emancipation of the African people. We, the undermentioned founding directors of Vuka Azania, those colleagues sitting next to me, right here, or left from me, Dr. Muzi Sikhakhane SC, myself, Mr. Arthur Fraser, and Professor Isaac Shai. Our struggle is for land, bread, knowledge, dignity, justice, sovereignty, and African self-determination. Our forebears fought against European conquest of their land, for they understood the centrality of land to life, culture, freedom, spirituality, dignity, knowledge, and peace. We declare that the land must return to the indigenous people from whom it was stolen. Land is not property alone. Land is ancestry, food, memory, nationhood, and power. Land is belonging. There can be no true liberation while black people remain tenants, laborers, and beggars on stolen soil. There can be no true liberation when coloniality still dominates the mental universe of black people. We declare that the wealth of this country must serve the black majority. The mines, the farms, the banks, the industries, the knowledge systems and productive resources of Azania must no longer produce colonial privilege, while black people are condemned to unemployment, hunger, and humiliation. Vuka Azania will co-organize for black ownership, cooperatives and entrepreneurship, community enterprises, food sovereignty, local manufacturing, skills development, youth employment, and participation in the economy and industrialization initiatives. We declare that education must be decolonized. Black children must know their history, languages, heroes, philosophy, and civilization. They must be taught to think from the soil of Africa, not from the shadow of Europe. Education must restore confidence, consciousness, and purpose.
That space is not great, but because we think our people need education and healing. Our strategic posture is informed by the fact that fundamental change in the country will only come when black people begin to appreciate that they have agency and that only they can determine their destiny. Importantly, we believe that change is not only possible through the medium of a political party. Yes, we are political, very political, in our characterization of the problems engulfing this country. However, we are of the view that there are multiple and varied paths to agitating for change. It is not only political parties that are capable of pursuing the interests of black people. It is us working with them to do what they do. The second point is that we believe that an entity like Vuka Azania is capable of uniting black people across the political spectrum, across religious divides. This is precisely why one of the first strategic interventions we're going to do, that Azania wants to do, is to call for and organize a Black People's Convention to discuss us, ourselves, our condition, to discuss what we are about, to discuss why we hate each other, to discuss why we want to be slaves, why we do not want anything that seeks to liberate us. And unfortunately, in South Africa, we deal with problems in a binary fashion. You're either for illegal foreigners or you're against them. It's a multi-layered African underdevelopment program. Unfortunately, our people who live in poverty, who scramble for resources at Umlazi, Diani, and everywhere in Alexander, look like they are fighting. Whether they are being manipulated by other bigger forces that have money is immaterial. But I think this is a multi-layered, bigger problem in the continent that actually must lie at the doorstep of our corrupt leaders, ineffective government, African leaders who are unable to develop their countries so that no one has to be beaten up because they cross the border. It's the corruption of African leaders. And I personally think if we listen carefully to what Traore is saying, we will learn more. So this problem, our people, yes, are fighting, beating each other up, but it's not their problem. It's a failure of African state and African leaders to create conditions for people to live in harmony. That is how we see the problem without condemning this group or that group. It's a multi-layered problem that requires all of us from Cape to Cairo to look at how our resources serve to enrich Europe and the US while we're killing each other, fighting over crimes. And we have to educate our people to see it that way so that there will be peace between black people, there will be peace in the continent, we will love each other, we will trade with each other, we will go to each other's places, we will cross the borders. And our leaders this failure you see in South Africa is because the state has failed. We're living in a failed state, and our people are fighting not because they are bad, because they are living in a failed state of corrupt leaders who don't care about them.
Thank you very much, SC.
We are aware that the problem in this country is the black condition. And what I think has caused differences is first is that black people have allowed themselves to be a buffer between white power and their own people. You will see this because the very first people who will oppose us are black. We understand that psychosis. We understand it. We don't hate people. We understand that that's what's going to happen. And we seek not to confront people, but to deal with that problem itself. And so what's our program? What do we put in place? Well, first of all, we are unapologetic about the fact that we seek to place the black agenda at the center of what we do. Secondly, until you fix the philosophy of your country, of your post-colonial architecture, no political party is going to fix this. No political party is going to fix the poison that our children are taught in schools, which is Eurocentric knowledge. No one is going to heal the black family that is destroyed. No one is going to go to our jails and pull out the black boys who are rotting in jail for being found with drugs when the white ones are in rehab. And no one is going to deal with the massive poverty, marginalization of women from mainstream economic activity. So, the program we put in place is to get people to the convention because we don't have all the answers. We don't claim to have all the answers, but we know what the problem is. And we have some answers, and we think our ordinary people, both black and white, by the way, people know what the problem is in this country. It's just that we are unable to confront it, and sometimes we fear the unknown. We actually don't even want to be liberated because we've been so unfree since we were born, and there's fear of the unknown. We want to put that as an agenda in our universities. And lastly, we emphasize spiritual and religious leaders for a reason. Because colonialism was implemented through the barrel of the gun, from the pulpit, from the classroom, from the lecture hall, from community bar, tavern, and everywhere else. And we think the healing is going to have to include our kings and queens, our leaders, but largely our spiritual and religious leaders, because they can reach the hearts and souls of our people that are sick, that require healing, that cause self-hate, that makes them the very first to react to mechanisms that are designed to heal them. We think that's the problem. So the Second Republic, for instance, politically, in political theory, is when you recreate your state, you accept that it hasn't worked. Because the state is like a house. You can paint it for as long as you want and close the cracks for as long as you want. But if the foundation is gone, it doesn't matter. And we believe, the four of us, and many people, by the way, who work with us, that we take advice from many men and women who've advised us about this. We believe that we must go to the foundation, which is the human being, the black person, how he feels and how she feels, the black woman who's been on the margins, the black community, the black family, and the school and the university and the church.
Do follow IOL News on all social media platforms for the latest updates. Simon Majadibodu, Johannesburg.